Hey guys, welcome back to my channel Rewind That. It's your girl Miss K. If this is your first time coming across my channel, welcome. Please be sure to subscribe if you like the vibe and hit that notification bell so you know when I upload more videos like this one. Today guys, we're going to be going over the latest episode of Snowfall season 4 episode 9 called Sleeping Dogs. I wanted it to be a little earlier today, but I actually just finished watching the episode. So let's get started, okay? Episode starts off where we left off, right? And T is now explaining to Franklin how she started working with Manboy. She gives him a story about how Manboy offered her $100,000 to get Franklin's plug. But when she realized why she fell for Franklin the first time, she told Manboy that she couldn't do it. So, according to Tanase, Manboy didn't take no for an answer and threatened to kill her and her brother, who he also had beaten half to death while he was in prison. So Franklin gets a page from Leon, and when he calls him back, we already know that this is about Uncle Jerome waging war. So Franklin turns to Peaches and tells him to stay with T until he gets back. So now we get Franklin showing up at the projects, and Jerome is not happy to see him. But Franklin is there to stop these guys from going where Manboy is because he knows that Manboy will be ready. And this is what Franklin tells Uncle Jerome. He says, Manboy knows what happened, and he's going to be expecting you, okay? And he will kill you and everyone else dumb enough to go with you. But Uncle Jerome did not want to listen, okay? He tells Franklin that he's been wrong at every turn and he's done following. So because of this, Franklin had to let Jerome know that T has been playing him and working with Manboy. But still, Uncle Jerome does not care. He still wants to wage war, and he wants to do it now. Even after Jerome tells him that they can use T to give Manboy fake intel and then set him up. But since Franklin wasn't getting through to his uncle, he prepares to fight him. And I was like, Franklin, even on your best day, honey, you could not beat Jerome, okay? So stop it. But nevertheless, they threw some blows and Uncle Jerome took Franklin down, of course, as we expected. And he landed some pretty tough blows too, especially right on the gunshot wound that we always see Franklin rubbing on. Anyway, Franklin tells his uncle that when your sister and wife ask me what I did to stop you, I'm going to tell them that I did everything I could. So that statement pretty much settled things, right? And Jerome looked like he felt a little bad anyway for beating up his nephew. Next, Franklin, Leon, Peaches, and Jerome are at T's apartment, and she tries to explain that what happened to Louis was all Khadijah's doing and not Manboy's. But Uncle Jerome just wants her to, make the phone call, right? So she calls Manboy and tells him that Franklin wants to meet up with him in person. But Manboy wants details, okay? He wants to know how T all of a sudden managed to get Franklin to agree. So she tells him that Louis getting shot is what changed Franklin's mind because he'd rather work together instead of going to war with more people dying. So this answer seemed good enough for Manboy, but I ain't gonna lie. His line of questioning had me nervous over here because I thought T was gonna slip up. But anyway, next, Death Wish Irene goes on a radio station and tells everyone who is listening that her story is real and she has the real name and the alias of the CIA agent involved. She threatens that if the CIA doesn't acknowledge this story, she will come back to the radio station to drop the names. And we see that Reed just so happens to be listening to this radio station as well. Okay, so like I said, Death Wish Irene is this chick's new name. Okay. Another thing I want to mention is that I'm disappointed that Alton was the one who pretty much hooked Irene up with this platform. I mean, Irene can no longer hold anything over his head or threaten him because, she got fired and her story was trash. So why is Alton still helping her? Anyway, it's crazy, but this kind of behavior right here is what makes me think that Alton is going to get himself killed. But, as I think about it, it's probably a personal thing because, the CIA and FBI and all that, they don't really have no love for nobody like that. And Alton knows that firsthand because of the situation that happened with his cousin. So I guess we do have to keep that in mind. He probably has his own personal reasons why he would want the CIA to be taken down. Next, Manboy comes to T's apartment unexpectedly and he tells her that he knows she set him up. Of course, she denies this, but it's too late because Manboy is ready to kill her. So as he's on top of her, ready to shoot her or choke her out or whatever comes first, T takes a knife she had on her, right? And she stabs Manboy in his side. And I was like, oh, we starting early, okay? So Manboy gets up and raises his gun to shoot T, but all of a sudden, he gets shot up instead. Meanwhile, his boys are outside making jokes about how Manboy must not have believed T because they heard the gunshots. But before they could even finish laughing, their cars get sprayed up by Jerome and Peaches. And I was like, whoa, I'm a little scared because if all of this is happening so close to the beginning of the episode, what's going to happen toward the end? So I'm a little nervous at this point, all right? Anyway, we get back inside T's apartment and Manboy is doing a little belly crawl across the floor trying to get to his gun, but Franklin tells him to just give it up already, right? And turn over. As he's laying on his back now, Manboy says to Franklin, how you know I was going to be here? And Franklin tells him that he was always smart, just not as smart as he thought he was. So Drew being Drew takes his last moments to talk trash, okay? And he goes down the line to dig at Franklin, Leon, and Uncle Jerome. Even after Franklin pumps 2 more holes in him, he was still talking trash. So Franklin finally shoots Manboy in the throat and shuts him up for good. And I ain't mad at that. I mean, I was hoping Manboy got dealt with this season, so it's whatever. Anyway, instead of killing T, Franklin tells her to call the police and report a robbery. He already knows that she's going to take the fall, and who cares, right? But he does let her know that he's going to make sure her brother is straight. But as for those bodies outside, well, you're a good liar, so you'll figure something out. And ain't that the freaking truth? That girl T was seriously a liar, okay? Anyway, next, we get to Scully's apartment and Khadijah tells him that Saint killed Drew. So Scully was like, you know, he's stupid. I told him not to go after that plug. And I guess this wasn't the answer that Khadijah wanted to hear because she went right upside his head with a glass. Then she goes to call her female hitters to tell them that she's upping the bounty to double. Then Scully tells her that she's going to have to get that hate out of her heart. So Khadijah says to him, if it was me that got killed, would you still forgive? And I'm just like, Scully's baby mama is on one, okay? Totally out of control. Anyway, next, Jerome and Franklin visit with Louie at the hospital and Jerome fills her in on everything. So Louie wants to know if they got a plan, but Franklin tells her that they were going to use T, but she's out now. So Louis says then call Black Diamond in Dallas and offer them more money and they'll take you to Khadijah. So Franklin and Jerome go to the hallway and discuss this idea and Franklin thinks it'll work, but Uncle Jerome seemed a little hesitant. I will say this, right? One thing about movies and shows, things rarely go according to plan. And if you hear the characters speak on these plans, it's either not going to work. And if it looks like it's going to work, you better believe something unexpected is going to happen, right? And so we already know what happens. And I was really surprised that it actually went totally according to plan. Next, it's looking like Reed has been pulled off his case and we see him leaving his office or whatever you want to call this place, right? Before he leaves, he gives Oso a hug and tells him that they'll get his money, but always have an exit plan and watch your back because these guys do not care about you. So I'm glad to see that Reed or Teddy, really did care about people like Oso and Franklin. But we'll see how far that goes, right? And whoever is taking over is definitely not going to be the same. They're going to be all about business. Next, Wanda goes to the strip club to tell Black Diamond in Dallas that she knows where they could find Leon. However, she also lets them know that after everything is over, she wants a cut of the bounty. So she takes them to where Leon is and some cars speed up out of nowhere and it's Uncle Jerome and a few other saints. So, Black Diamond in Dallas, they think they're being set up. But Franklin and Leon also come out of the hotel and Franklin tells Black Diamond in Dallas that it's not what it looks like and they just want to talk. Long story short, Franklin offers the ladies full employment and to come be a part of their team. So after Jerome warns them to choose wisely because they ain't going to get another chance, the ladies give in and ask Franklin what he needs them to do. Next, Teddy finds Irene at a bar and he tells her that he's sorry for what he did to her. He thought he was doing the right thing, right? He lets her know that he's been taken off his mission. So Irene says, well, I'm not sorry for you. Then Teddy says, well, that's not what I came looking for. I came to give you some information. Because at this point, Teddy is pissed that they tossed him aside after all the sacrifices he made to make this mission work. All right, so he gets up to get a couple of drinks, one for her and one for him. And Irene presses the record button and Teddy starts spilling the beans. But for me, guys, once he got up to get those drinks, I knew that there was something up. Next, Black Diamond and Dallas deliver Khadijah to the Saints, but Leon tells her that he just wants to apologize and if he could change things, he would. But Khadijah doesn't want to hear it. She tells Leon that he can't change anything and that she doesn't see why she has to be the bigger person. So while she's talking, Uncle Jerome was clearly sick of it, so he just shot her. And Leon was not happy about this because he was really looking for a way to rectify the situation with Khadijah because he already felt horrible about killing a child. Anyway, Franklin tells Leon to let her go and pulls him up so they can leave. But back to Jerome, guys. I think he shot Khadijah because he didn't want her to say anything that would make him change his mind, right? Because his whole purpose was to get revenge for her shooting Louis. And the more she spoke, the more Jerome might have felt she was making some sense and he probably was sorry for her, you know? Next, Alton comes up to the hospital to check on Sissy, but Franklin gets there as well and he sees his parents embracing and he wants to know why Alton is there. So Alton tells Franklin that he came to check on his mother. And Franklin says, that ain't your job no more. So, of course, Alton leaves. And my issue with this is, why does everyone act like Franklin rules everything, you know? Sissy knows that she doesn't want Alton out of her life, yet she allows Franklin to make that choice for her. I'm just saying, like, they need to separate the business from the personal. And I know that's a little hard because Alton snitched, but everybody don't have to cut him off, you know, especially Sissy because that's her husband. Franklin is the leader of the Saints, you know, in the drug game, not the family. They need to just separate the two. Next, we see that Teddy spiked Irene's drink, which caused her to crash. So he goes to her car and this time he smothers her to death. He did warn her that the next time she wouldn't wake up. So there you have it. Anyway, the story of the so-called accident is now on the news and Franklin and Sissy are watching it. Then Reed shows up and asks Franklin what they're going to do about his father. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So now since Reed over here pissed off and he went and killed Irene, now he act like Alton got to get killed too, you know, whatever. But listen, like I said, Irene, she got what was coming to her. We've been talking about this, guys. And that's just that. It was a no-brainer. She was just doing too much. All right, so we get to the last scene where Alton also hears the news about Irene and he already knows what's up, you know, that this was no accident. So he grabs his coat and heads out the door. And I was so glad that nobody was standing there waiting to kill him. But like, you know, as soon as he opened the door that he would have got shot in his head or something like that. I was really hoping that wouldn't happen and I'm glad it didn't. All right. Anyway, guys, that's how the episode ended. And let me know what you guys thought of this episode. We also saw Scully identifying his woman's body, and you already know that broke him down, okay? So what does this mean for Franklin and his crew, though, right? Will the old Scully emerge? Because remember what Khadijah asked him. She said, if it were me, would you forgive? So we will see about that, you know? Anyway, guys, that's the video for today. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. And hit that notification bell so you know when I upload more videos like this one. I'll see you in the next video. Until next time, take care and be blessed. Bye-bye.